Hey, welcome back. It's Voice of the Republic on a Tuesday. How are you? This is Ed.
Mike.
And this is Carl. And today we are again joined by...
Oh, me. I'm Rusty.
And I'm Joe, and it's Tuesday.
Yay! So, actually, I'm sorry, it's actually Wednesday.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, day one for us is Tuesday, so this is Wednesday.
You just said Tuesday.
My life is a lie.
Yeah.
I knew it was Wednesday, but I was going along with your charade.
I know. I appreciate that you guys were nice enough to be considerate for our hinderment that is Ed. So.
I have a rare condition of weekditis and
Daylexia? Is that what it is?
It's like Daylexia. I take Daylexia for my weekitis.
But yeah, we're talking wrestling. You might have heard, if you don't know wrestling terms, go back to episode 1. We covered a bunch of stuff because we're going to talk smart tonight. So
You just got to be ready.
yeah, we're not holding back for you. We're not slowing down.
We're going to use all the industry lingo we know.
Yes, because it makes us feel more special as fans. We're more connected.
Yes.
Which is kind of
feel so.
ironic because as fans are getting smarter, there's a whole section of the industry that kind of resents the smart fans. Because I know JR, Jim Ross, the longtime announcer for the WWE, and just pretty much every other promotion that's ever mattered, he always kind of rails on the smart internet fan, which is kind of funny. So like these guys that go around like using like, oh, he's a jobber, oh, he's over, and using all these industry terms, like he kind of like poo-poos on them, which I always kind of find funny. So.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is his life, this is his livelihood, and he had to put in a lot of years to become someone who so freely uses these terms. And yet, once somebody knows about it, they're throwing it around like it's just everyday lingo.
They're experts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and then also you got to consider that up until recently, this was also like a secret organization where people used to have to almost murder people just to find out who's a wrestling trainer. It wasn't something that you could just freely go around to talk about. And there's still people working in the industry on the creative end and the promotional end that worked in a time when they could not break character when they were out of their house.
Steve Austin tells a funny story about learning how to wrestle, and that he went to a school in Texas, and he went there for a number of weeks, and he was getting ready to have his first match, and that is when he was smartened up, and that's when he was told that it was a worked sport. It wasn't real. It wasn't on the up and up. It wasn't until he was about to have his first match.
Yeah, I mean that's how secretive these guys are, or were at that time. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about WrestleMania. We started to talk about it yesterday. You guys really enjoyed it. I want to say, even as being like someone that's critical usually of these matches, using like the smart eye, I even thought it was really, really good from a smart angle. There was a couple down points for me, but overall I thought it was a really good show, which is saying a lot coming from me because I've been really critical of them over the past few years.
So what were for someone who's kind of outside, what were like, besides the main event that I now know how it turned out, listeners, you're going to find out if you keep listening, so whatever. But what were the other like two big matches that night that everybody was talking about?
Well, so the overarching storyline was the ascendance of Daniel Bryan. That was the main storyline. He had two matches during the show in order to claim the title. But in addition to that, there was the saga of John Cena versus Rusty's family, the Wyatt family.
Yes. My creepy
your creepy relatives, right? And because he is the child's hero, he is the G.I. Joe of the company. He never does bad; he always does good, and he's going against these backwoods swamp monsters.
Like, as they were setting up a promo for it last night, I pointed out, I was like, this is amazing because it is the WWE's ultimate good guy versus like their weirdest creepy bad guys.
Yeah. That's really how they build it, and it was one of those things. It kind of harkened back to the old Jake the Snake sort of thing versus Hulk Hogan. where you have this guy that's really creepy and psychological. Then you had Unstoppable Force, who just, I'm the face of the company. Like, children, eat your vitamins and say your prayers. Hustle,
Right.
loyalty, and respect is pretty much the equivalent, like the modern equivalent of say your prayers, eat your vitamins. And you have these guys that are creepy, and they come across as being like a cult. Trying to do underhanded things and being crazy and dirty, and they have long, greasy hair, and they're all ooh, creepy. And one guy comes out with a sheep mask on, and they talk about how everyone's being tricked. You're following him like sheep, and he's not the hero he's supposed to be. And that was the big work up to this event. And it was really interesting how they executed it, because the whole match was just basically Bray Wyatt, the main villain of the Wyatt family, trying to make John Cena do that turn and be the bad guy and take that shot that he would never take being the good guy.
And it's funny because just Cena wrestling on his own can be boring to me, because I think he is like one of the more boring, plain vanilla guys. But yeah, to actually have something where you can make that a strength because it's him trying to use his complete, do-gooder thing and keep away from all the evil of the Wyatts is pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
when you say sheep mask, like he literally wears a Lone Ranger thing over his face, or like KKK? What does that mean?
Oh no, it's a sheep, like the animal,
Are you serious?
and it's a plastic sheep mask.
Why am I not watching wrestling?
Why aren't you? Really, it's. I want to talk about it a little later, but it's honestly one of the best pieces of showmanship and entertainment going on right now in our culture. So.
Yes, so the idea with the Wyatt family, again, is there's a cult leader, and he has his two disciples. And one of them is Luke Harper, and he has this big, scraggly black beard with spots of gray mixed in. And the other is a guy named Eric Rowan. And Eric Rowan is a big, giant, red-haired, well, if he had hair on the top of his head, it'd be red. But he has a giant red beard. And on top of his face, he has this child's Halloween mask, which is a sheep.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's old, like, and it's old kind of like. I guess plasterish. It's like almost porcelain looking, so it's all chipped and it's kind of like held together, and like it's really an old looking mask, and it's really creepy looking. And
It's
it has
a
that,
nightmare fuel.
yeah,
Fortunately for everybody who wants one, they're available on the WWE website for purchase.
yeah.
Imagine.
We actually have a photo here.
That's me wearing the. Let's see if we can. I don't know if it's going to
I
work
don't know
or
if it's gonna
not.
work at all, but
Carl,
That's-
fix it in post.
That's
There we
me
go.
wearing the sheep
Oh.
mask
Wow. Yeah.
and holding the lantern that Bray Wyatt always wields as well. He has his own little gas lantern
He's like some kind of superhero.
or
is this?
supervillain.
Yeah.
Or a supervillain.
yes.
Pardon.
Swampy, nasty, pervy old sheep guy.
Yeah.
That's how his theme song goes.
Where we hold nasty.
You guys ever listen to the band? They used to be 16 horsepower. They're called Woven Hand now. David
No.
Edwards Woven Hand. I need you guys to listen to that. It's all like weird Southern Baptist, creepy, fire and brimstone, snake handling with an accordion, and it's really intense and good. But it's good and fun and awesome and excellent to listen to, but it's also got a super weird, creepy edge to it. And that's exactly what that reminds me of.
Yeah. It sounds like it's right down the same alley. Only instead of being wrestling, it's music. It's like, and they even had a live performance by the band that does their theme music, their entrance music, and like they were wearing like these creepy like bird masks and like wearing almost like voodoo sort of makeup and stuff. It was great.
Wow.
You would have loved it, Mike. It was a great show.
I love theatrics.
And yeah, that was what last night WrestleMania was all about. That was another really cool thing is they had at least 3 live performances of theme songs that I can remember. So they had like the bands come out and they would actually do like the theme music, and the Wyatts was one of them, and it was really cool. So
That's cool. Do you guys remember when Cyndi Lauper got beat up?
Yes, very much so.
That was so intense because when that happened, I swear to God, I thought it was real. I was like, what? She's just a girl. She just wants to have fun. Why are you there? It didn't make any sense. I was going bananas. I was like 11 years old, and it was just like she was getting kicked around, and her hair was all over the place. It was awesome.
Oh my
and
god.
that apexed at WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania. So that ties into tonight because that last night was the 30th WrestleMania. WrestleMania is almost as old as I am.
Wow.
So
It'll catch up
That's
eventually.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it's that's as far as my wrestling. Not to get spend too much time in the past, but I mean for me that's as far as my wrestling knowledge only went into like early '90s. So I mean when Cyndi Lauper was getting her face stomped, we were all over that stuff. It was like for here in Chicago, it was like Bears are going to the Super Bowl and WrestleMania was happening, and we were just like, more of that! Like, it was nuts. Just, that was entertainment, man. That was the manliest entertainment I was ever into. Wrestling
Oh,
and
a lady
football.
getting beat up. I gotcha.
Yeah. That's all.
It peaked right there.
That's all it takes for me, man. That's all it takes.
well,
Maybe
and
that's
that
why
was.
I'm single.
But that's the beauty of wrestling, and they still do it to this day. Is they get that celebrity, the celebrity crossover. They try to bring people into it, and it's really just a huge show. But specifically to this WrestleMania, there was a huge event, and I wanted to talk about this because I don't think we're going to be talking much more of last night's WrestleMania after tonight. But possibly the biggest thing, despite like Daniel Bryan winning the title and all this other crazy stuff that happened last night, history was made. The Undertaker, he has been in the WWF/E since 1990. He was when he made his first debut. He's been in 22 WrestleManias, and of those, the previous 21 WrestleManias, he has been undefeated. He has never lost a match at WrestleMania until last night. The streak was broken. He is now 21-1 at WrestleMania.
I can't imagine doing anything that physical for 21 years.
The dude is 49. He's 49 years old.
Unbelievable. That guy's amazing.
And that son of a bitch has been dead since I've been aware of him.
Oh, that's a secret.
He was dead before it was in vogue. I mean, he was killing it back then.
He was goth before goth. Oh my god. The original goth. That's awesome. The Undertaker. I'm trying to think of like the stuff that like when he came out, it was just like it was like a funeral pyre. Like that's all it was. Like, is that the way it is now?
Even more theatrics to it now because they have more video backgrounds and things. It's
like a lot of fog
through the whole arena, and he comes out.
Yeah.
Last night they actually had coffins laid out for all of the people he's defeated.
Whoa, that's cool.
22nd one for the new guy.
Last year's event, when he came out, it was backlit, so you can only see the silhouette. And beneath him, there were these waving arms, as if he was being pulled.
Oh yeah,
pulling himself from the realm of the dead.
Like he was pulling himself out of hell.
It sounds like a Tool concert. It sounds like a Tool concert.
Basically, yeah.
Then there's a point where Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, he actually found Jesus.
Still full of the hate.
He found Jesus in his real life, so he's a Christian now. So they worked this whole angle where when he came to the ring, this was what 4 years ago. When he came to the ring, he came down and he's dressed all in white and everything, so he looked kind of like an angel, and he's like in this like crane to kind of come.
He was an
down.
anti-Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he came down. It was all bright and backlit and everything. And then when it was Undertaker's time to come to the ring, it got all dark, and he actually came up from the bottom of the stage, and like he was coming up from hell. It was like the theatrics on it was just brilliant. It was so beautiful too. It was so well made. But yeah, like that's the sort of stuff that you get now. But before we end this, we're going to go a little long. I don't care. What did you guys think about how they broke the streak?
Yes.
It was funny to me. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to happen, but also without knowing, too much of the backstory and what would have led to it, would it happen or would it happen? The fact that it just kind of happened, because everybody's watching it, and nobody really expected it to end with, Taker losing, and so when it happened, they got the 3 count, and nobody got angry and nobody got excited. Everybody just had no idea what to do. And so there were like these 50 different reaction shots from the crowd of people just staring straight ahead like, wow. The one that Joe linked earlier was the guy that just like pulling on his face. Like, what is happening? What world are we in now?
You couldn't tell if he was like in pain or if he's having an orgasm or what was going on, because he's just like,
it doesn't have to be an either-or situation, man.
Yeah.
I think earlier you said something like
He was
it looked like
as if he
trying
was
to,
trying to rip off his face and change his identity or something.
trying to wipe his own identity away.
So the thing about Undertaker losing is, all right, so he's been wrestling, as you can surmise. He's had 21 victories at WrestleMania. And there's never been, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing until it was like 16 or 17 victories. Before then, it was just almost a coincidence. You know, maybe he'd been scheduled to lose one year or scheduled to lose the next. But for this, all of a sudden it became noticed. Somebody picked up on it in talking to him on camera, and then it became a thing. So after that, it was, will he continue winning? Soon thereafter, though, it almost became anticlimactic because nobody believed he would ever lose. And so last night, you had somebody who, if it wasn't at WrestleMania, if the match was at any other event during the year, someone who would not be a surprise to actually win, it wouldn't be a big deal for him to beat The Undertaker. But because it was at this event, nobody expected him to win. And it was, you know, they assumed they knew the ending by default. So when it didn't happen, when another ending came out of nowhere, no matter how much it made sense, these people freaked out.
And maybe that's why it was, Carl and I talked about it earlier, like, this isn't the guy that should have won. It should have been more of a character, more of someone who's invested in WWE, both as a wrestler, as a character within WWE, but also from a business sense. And probably that was the whole setup, and that's why you three are marks, because you're like, oh, that guy? Of course he's going to lose. He's going to go play hockey next. Who cares? What? Rip my face off, you know?
I mean, you're not wrong about that, because if you buy into the mythology, if you buy into the story, even if it's the behind the scenes story, you think you know what's going to happen, whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And in this case, it almost as if it doesn't matter what's best for business, because The Undertaker is, if there was ever a leader of the wrestlers in the company, it's him. He's been around longer than anybody at this point, and he is the de facto locker room leader. When he wants to go out on his sword, he just makes the call, and nobody's going to argue with him. So when he says he wants to lose to this guy who he may be friendly with, or he just likes wrestling, no one's going to say anything about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clout.
And the thing is I think what's also, for me, most shocking is kind of like what Ed was mentioning when we were talking, is Brock Lesnar, the guy that defeated him, isn't a company guy. He's left the company to go to the NFL and UFC. He actually got sued one time for breach of contract for a no-compete because he went to Japan when he wasn't supposed to be wrestling. The WWE even tried to sue him at one point. And he's also a part-time talent. He's like kind of he's not a guy that goes and works the house shows. He's not going to be there. He might not be there in a year or two. So to have him come in and win just seems like, and it's brilliant from a storytelling standpoint, because like we've established, it shouldn't have happened. Like, in a business standpoint, they should have picked someone like a Daniel Bryan, someone that has like 10, 20 years ahead of him. This is his launching pad. He's the one that broke the streak. And then you have this wrestler that's been around for a little bit, might not even be around come a couple years from now, and he's the one that breaks the streak. And what that's called in the industry is a swerve. And that might be the biggest swerve we have seen come out of the WWE, honestly, ever. I mean, since they've been a televised company, I don't think possibly, other than like some moments like when Marty Jannetty got super kicked and thrown through the window by Shawn Michaels. You know, it's like you don't see swerves like that anymore because people are so smart to the industry.
There's one swerve I would say is bigger than all of them, because it actually changed the landscape of the entire wrestling industry.
I think I know which way you're going to say, but let's see.
Okay, so back in 2001, I think it is, there were two major companies. There was WWE and WCW. And WCW, through mismanagement, lost, I don't know, $60 to $80 million in 1 year, which happens. I've had it happen. But, but this caused the parent company, Turner Broadcasting, who was no longer owned by Ted Turner, they caused them to reconsider owning this wrestling company and reconsider having it air on their stations. So they wanted to sell it. And once there was no locked-in TV deal available, so you were just buying the company, you were buying the wrestlers, you weren't buying a spot on television. A lot of the buyers went away, except for one, the one that didn't need a TV spot. WWF. And so
Mm.
one Monday night in 2001, you had the show on the one channel competing against the show on the other channel simultaneously, and Vince McMahon is on one station, and out walks his son Shane on the other. And they simulcast this across both stations.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that, just because of the implications of what that meant, was, I would say, a bigger swerve.
Yeah, because at that point it's like DC Comics appearing in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
You know, like they might reference one or take a jab, like subtly or not so subtly every once in a while. But like for them to coexist in one universe at one point is like a singularity in wrestling that like had
It's
never
actually like
happened
getting
before.
us to be here together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposing natural
So-
forces.
But I think we probably should wrap it up because we've gone way over now. But is there anything else you guys wanted to say about WrestleMania before we put a fork in it? Thumbs up.
All right, thumbs are up. That's good
All
stuff.
right. Great.
Cool.
That's all. Just thumbs up, man.
But you know that's fucking digital right there. There's no analog about it. There's no like, oh, it's a 3.5. It's either good or bad, and that's pure right there.
Just like my kisses.
Aww.
No, those aren't even digital. Those are always just good.
That's right. But that's for another show.
Very special.
Alligator show.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it home.
Going to defend the belt. Well, if you enjoyed this show, or if you didn't enjoy the show, you want to give us some feedback, we always take it. Always.
And you can take it from us, or you can give it to us at voiceofrep@gmail.com. That's an email address where you write us an email and you send it to there, where Ed or Carl reads it and then reads it on the show. If you want to give us a call, there's a telephone version of this email thing. It's 407-409-8749. You can say whatever the hell you want, but keep it down to 2 minutes. They will cut you off, and then everything's done from that point forward. Just make sure your content goes towards the beginning of that 2 minutes. So it's like walk in with a pop, and then just follow it out. Follow it
No
out.
boo
2
pops.
minutes. Say whatever it is that you want to say. Usually it's often crazy, nutty, irreverent, and we like all of that, especially the irreverent. And then blah, blah, blah. What else is there? There's vorradio.com. That's where you find out other ways of contacting us. And there's also a Facebook thing, and I almost feel as though there's two, because sometimes I make comments on one, but it's not followed through on the other, and I don't give enough of a fuck about it to do anything about it. So most of you contact me at my cell phone.
These are very simple instructions to follow, guys.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
by no means feel that, if you annoy us enough, this is your fast track to getting Mike's personal number. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Yeah, you all
It's
just
just for Mike. You got to get through us.
Yeah. So there's our contact information. We love you, and we'll see you in a little while. Good
You
night.
bet. Catch you on the flip side on the real Wednesday. Or is it
On the
Thursday?
Thursday.
Damn it.
You know what? If you're a good fan, we'll see you every day.
Yes.
That's on
Yeah,
the
those numbers need to be even across the board. This weird shit with like 100 on a Wednesday and then 3 on a Tuesday. Like, what is with that, people?
Yeah, who watches videos?
I'm
about
counting these
order?
numbers. I'm looking at them. I see them. They're public.
You guys are crazy. What are you doing? You're ruining everything.
I know. It's symmetry. It's symmetry.
That's right. So all you got to do. It's only 15 minutes. So,
What are we supposed to get from these analytics?
Frustration and we drink more.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. All right. On that note, we will catch you tomorrow for day 3 of Wrestlemania with Joe and Rusty in VOR. So until then, may the force.
Be mit.
That bat.
Bam!
Ice.